Hey friends, Kevin here from the My Song They Rock 2000 Today YouTube video, and as 2019 comes to an end, you know what we gotta do with it? We gotta look back at the year that was. Now, I know a lot has happened in music over the course of 2019, especially within pop culture, and I'm talking about Lizzo's explosion onto the scene, Taylor Swift and her AMA award records. I'm also talking about Atlanta and its explosion, or I should say continued explosion, as the hip-hop capital of the world. Now, we're not going to get into those. Why? Because this is all about rock and metal music, and we're going to focus all in on that. So when it comes to 2019, we're going to be taking a look at the sad, the good, the bad, the crazy, the happy, the releases, everything you can think of in our top 10 favorite things that happened in 2019, or least favorite things that happened in 2019. I should say the top 10 most important things that happened in 2019. So shall we go through them? Let's go. So, of course, one of the top 10 stories from the year has to be Tool's return and the release of Fear Inoculum. Now, fans have been waiting for a new Tool album since the year 2006 when 10,000 Days was released. So this is 13 years in the making. We always heard teases of a new album. We always heard a lot of different workings of a new album. When are we going to get the new Tool album? It's going to be 2016, 2017, 2018. We kept getting teased and teased and teased, and nothing ever came out. Now, July 29th, 2019, Mayor James Keenan goes on the Joe Rogan Experience, and they only discuss Tool for the first 10 minutes. And a couple big things came out here. We already knew that Tool's album was going to come out on August 30th at this point. However, Mayor James Keenan announced that Tool, which had previously been incredibly hard to get a hold of their music, especially online, was going to put all their music on YouTube, streaming services, and download services like iTunes. So that was absolutely huge news. They also announced that Fear Inoculum was going to be the name of the album coming out on August 30th, and also shed light onto why this took so long, because all four guys are perfectionists. Everything is done by committee to make sure that everything is done right. So that's why it took so long, but fans were eagerly awaiting August 30th. Now the album drops, and critics and fans loved Fear Inoculum, saying it was well worth the wait. Me, I actually did like the album, but not as much as a lot of other people did. So is it going to be my top 10 at the end of the year for best? No, it's not going to end up there. However, a lot of people really did like it. Ended up selling 270,000 copies of the album, or the equivalent of, in the first week. And on the September 14th rankings, it knocked off Taylor Swift's most recent album. And the Swift fans went crazy because their album was not number one. Tool's was. They were freaking out, who's Tool? What's Tool? Band Tool kind of thing. We're going to get all these Tool fans back. And everyone's like, so overall, the wait for Tool's album was over, and it was well received by a lot of fans. So coming at number 2, we have Metallica and their partnership with Danny Wimmer Presents. They announced this on October 10th, 2019, that all 5 of the Danny Wimmer's Presents festivals, including Epicenter, Sonic Temple, Welcome to Rockville, Louder Than Life, and Aftershock, that Metallica would be playing 2 headlining gigs at each of the 3-day festivals, Friday and Sunday. And initially when I saw this, I looked at it and I thought I have to make a video about this, because even though Metallica's playing 2 unique sets, I always talked about how I had some major concerns about how this was going to limit the exposure to younger fans, because you're going to be focusing in so much on these 2 shows from Metallica that fans aren't going to really go and pay attention to, whatever else is out there. It's going to really limit that kind of exposure to these smaller bands that are really trying to make it big. Plus, we're going to take a look at the other headlining gigs that, you're taking away a headlining gig from somebody else who could easily deserve it and is better connected with youth, because, maybe something like A Day to Remember, Avenged Sevenfold. I don't know. So when I looked at this, I really thought that it was going to end up limiting a lot of what could go on. However, since the time of this video's recording, I've seen 2 full lineups for Epicenter and Sonic Temple. Epicenter will have Disturbed as its Saturday headliner. Sonic Temple will have Slipknot. One thing I do have to give credit to Danny Wimmer Presents at this point is the supporting cast and the supporting bands for all the rest of the shows are utterly fantastic. So even though this Metallica thing, I didn't like the way it looked from the outset, the supporting acts don't look too bad. So that could actually quell a lot of my concerns, but we'll see what happens in 2020, and that'll be a thing we look at in the review for 2020. For number 3, I've talked about the return of Tool in 2019, but there are 2 other bands I really want to talk about their returns in 2019, either to a different sound or an old sound, or just coming back entirely. The first is Sleeping with Sirens, because they came out with their album How It Feels to Be Lost on September 6, 2019. Before that, their previous release, Gossip, came out in 2017, and a lot of fans really didn't like it, and neither did the band. The main reason was because it was much more of a pop-centric album that the band really didn't write all together. It was more influenced by producers and other music writers, so it wasn't fully a Sleeping with Sirens thing. It had a lot more pop tendencies to it. The band really felt disconnected to it. Kellen Quinn felt disconnected with it, and Kellen Quinn went down the path of alcohol abuse to the point where he just felt like he was completely disconnected from the band and his family and all together. So in a major comeback, the band came out with How It Feels to Be Lost, and they wrote this one completely like the old way they used to, all together, hammer it out, doing it. Now when they came out with Leave It All Behind, there was their first single. It was like If You Can't Hang 2.0. It was like the sequel to it. The music video was the same. The sound was the same. And you could tell that Sleeping with Sirens was coming back with this older, same sound that they always had. When How It Feels to Be Lost came out on September 6th, my God, was the return to form perfect, fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Loved hearing Sleeping with Sirens back to that old sound, and it was the proper move, and I absolutely loved it. The second band we saw come back was As I Lay Dying. Now, we all know what happened with As I Lay Dying, because in 2013, following their 6th release in 2012, Tim Lambesis was arrested for allegedly hiring an undercover hitman to take out his estranged wife, and that broke up the band. They went on hiatus. You never saw them again. But then all of a sudden in 2018, they started playing again, and they were going to be doing live shows. So all of a sudden, people were going to buy these tickets. It was fantastic. It was huge. There were a lot of venues that were also canceling these because of public backlash due to people not wanting to support Tim Lambesis. Now the band ended up coming out with their 7th album, Shaped by Fire, on September 20th, 2019. And this was a return to form for the band as well, because they went back to that old sound that they had, this straight metalcore, even though they never really went far from that, but they just went back to the roots, straight metalcore, which is what they basically kind of helped rise up in the ranks of a musical genre. And honestly, when I looked at it, I thought it was good. I really didn't like the construction of it. I should say I liked the construction of it. It kind of got messed up there. But overall, it was nice to see them come back as well and come back in the fold and see the reception that they got. And it was all based upon their music and not anything else that happened in the past. So at number 4, we have Motley Crue's return and the release of the Dirt movie. Now, the Dirt is a movie about Motley Crue that was a tell-all biography that the band wrote of the same title, and the movie was released on Netflix on March 22nd. And this details the beginning of the band, the rise of the band, their peak popularity, the fall of them, the comeback, and all of that. And it really goes into detail on certain aspects of the band's troubling history, such as Vince Neil's drunk driving car crash that killed Razzle of Hanoi Rocks back in 1984, Nikki Sixx's death and resurrection in 1987 from a heroin overdose, and Vince Neil ultimately leaving the band in 1992 and coming back a couple years later. Now, the movie was well received by fans, but lambasted by critics. If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score for it, 39% from the critics, 95% from the fans. The critics, essentially, if you look at it, it says that the fans are going to love it, but it hesitates to really grapple onto what the real core of the movie is and the troubling aspects of the band's career. Now, what I saw from a lot of critics was they were blaming that it wasn't, keeping up with the politics of today, where it just wasn't like a strong female character, or there wasn't really anything that was woke in it. And I thought, this is a biopic. They're talking about stuff that happened in the past. What would you rather have? Would you rather wokeness or accuracy? For a biopic, give me the frickin' accuracy. Now, Motley Crue ended up seeing a lot of new interest from fans following the release of The Dirt, because they came out with a couple new tracks for The Dirt. They ended up seeing a lot of traffic when it came to people listening to their music, when it came to people looking at their website, buying their merch, to the point where they had a cessation of touring agreement they signed back in 2014 before their final tour. And they literally blew it up, and they're going to be going back on tour in 2020 with 80s rock bands Poison and Def Leppard. So we'll see how this all plays out, because who knows how this is going to play out with Motley Crue. It's Motley Crue! So we got coming at number 5, we've got the saga of Slipknot and former percussionist Chris Fenn. Now, in March 2019, according to theblast.com, Chris Fenn was suing Slipknot because he alleged that all of their doings when it came to revenue from touring and merch were all to be funneled within one company and then distributed equitably to the members of the band. However, he claimed that there were a lot of other shell companies that were set up in different states that received this money and were sent unfairly to members of the band, specifically calling out Sean Crane and Corey Taylor in this one. Now, right after this happened, my God, Chris Fenn got just lambasted and kicked out of the band. And they did not hold back on saying, Chris knows why he left the band and why he's not in the band anymore. And this is all around the time when they're really working on We Are Not Your Kind and about to come out with the album in August of 2019. Now, as of now, we haven't really seen much from it, where there's a couple of charges that were dropped. However, most of the charges are going to be heard at the beginning of 2020. So we'll keep an update on that. And it looks like a lot of the other band members want these charges dropped. However, we'll see how that all plays out. One other thing that's happened with Slipknot because of this is Tortilla Man, who is their newest member because of Chris Fenn's leaving, has come on and has won the lore of fans. Even Chris Fenn said, please do not hate on Tortilla Man because Tortilla Man is good. So when it comes to Slipknot in 2019, a little bit of turmoil. Might get worse in 2020, might get better. We'll see. So, of course, no year goes without album teases, whether the teases come to fruition and become true, or the teases are ultimately false. And I'm going to take a look at the ones that are true right now. So we're going to start with Saint Sonia, the Adam Gontier outfit after 3 Days Grace. They came out with their first self-titled album back in 2015, and fans have been waiting 4 years for new music from the band. Now, apparently they've been working on music since 2017, but things are happening with Adam Gontier's alcoholism and a lot of other different factors really forced the band to really dial back and not release an album. Now, in July of 2019, they released the single The Hunted, which got people thinking, Saint Sonia's coming out with new music. Adam Gontier's back. Then in August, they said that the album was going to be called Flaw Design. They released the artwork for it, which I thought was beautiful. And in October, I believe it was October 25th, the album was released in full. And this was approved and loved by critics and fans alike. On both of them. And I agreed. The other one that we saw was Get Scared. Now, the band had been working on this new album called The Dead Day since 2017. However, they went on hiatus at the beginning of 2019 because Nicholas Matthews, their lead singer, ended up going into rehab for heroin addiction and was trying to beat that. They released The Dead Days on April 19, 2019 with literally no fanfare. I had no idea the album was coming out until one of our Instagram followers at The Real Satan told us 2 days beforehand. I checked it out and I actually really liked the album. It was one of the most surprising albums I heard from the whole entire year. Unfortunately, on September 15th, the band announced that they were officially breaking up and that was it. So we got this random thing from Get Scared as the last album, and I thought it was their best work to date, so they went out on top for them. So I'm going to talk about teases that came to fruition. Let's talk about the ones that didn't come to fruition. I've got two, and one of them is a little bit touchier than the other. Let's start with that one. That's In This Moment. Everyone was aware that their new album, Mother, their 7th album, was supposed to come out in summer of 2019, but that never came into fruition. At the beginning of October, they put out a cryptic message on their social media pages saying like the in-between. It was a video they put out there. So everyone's thinking we're getting the first single off of Mother on Halloween. Now on October 13th, I saw Maria Brink perform Legacy, which is one of the songs off the new album. So I'm like, okay, we're definitely getting it on Halloween. Halloween came, Halloween went, and we never got any new In This Moment music, which I thought, oh, wait, what? This is weird, and we have not seen any release from In This Moment up to this point. Now, as we're all expecting them to release Mother in 2020 because they're going on the In-Between tour with Black Veil Brides, and we'll see how that all plays out as well, because now the fact that we've expected this album, it's keep getting pushed back and we're getting teased and nothing's really coming out, there's going to be high expectations for this one. The other band that teased us and didn't come to fruition, but this one is a little bit more explanatory, is A Day to Remember. Now, they were talking about how they're coming out with the new album, You're Welcome, but they never gave a hard date. Our sources told us that it was going to come out on November 15th. A week beforehand, the band put out a disclaimer saying You're Welcome was supposed to come out on November 15th, which I thought, yes, we were right. But then they said, it's not coming out. It'll come out in early 2020 because they wanted to make sure that it was perfect and done right. So I looked at that and said, well, you guys never actually came out with a concrete date. So this does actually work in your favor. However, if you're going to delay and you want to say it's perfect, we'll see what happens. Don't tease us any further. Get it to us in early 2020, guys. Can't wait to see what you got. So, of course, we do have to talk about those that we did lose in 2019 in rock and metal music. And I'm not really going to say much about them. We're just going to go right through them, and you're going to get to see them as our in memoriam. The number 9 thing we got to talk about is the end of an era, and that is Slayer playing their last show. So Slayer was on this whole entire tour where they're going to be playing their last shows in a bunch of different places, and they ended on November 30th, 2019 at the Forum in Los Angeles. Now, they played about 20 songs during their set, 90-minute set, no encore, and they ended, of course, with Angel of Death. Now, as the show ended, there's a lot of crying, hugging, a lot of emotion going on. You can even listen to the Bill Burr Monday Morning podcast that came out on December 2nd, and he was at the show, so you can hear a whole first-hand account of that show. Now, what does this mean? This means that one of the big four when it comes to thrash metal is done touring, done making music. They're not coming back, and that's Slayer. Now, the other three, Metallica, Anthrax, and Megadeth, are still going. However, this is an end of era because, all the flames are gone, flames are extinguished, but they did go out with a bang. Now, could Slayer end up coming back? Of course they could. Look at what Motley Crue is doing. I mean, we just talked about it. The Rolling Stones have been on so many end of tours, but you know what? They come back. You never know what's going to happen, but this does seem like it is the end for Slayer, and what a career they had. At number 10, last but most importantly, we have the return of a band that people have been begging to return for almost 7 years, and that is the return of My Chemical Romance. My Chemical Romance broke up back in 2013, and all 4 members ended up going on their own and doing their own thing. The band did put out a cryptic message in 2016 about something coming out on September 23rd, 2016, ended up being the 10th anniversary of the Black Parade, where they put out a lot of unreleased demos on that as well. Then all of a sudden, they put out something right before Halloween on 2019, which was like another cryptic message. I thought, oh my God, is the band getting back together after pleads and people wanting them to get back together? And it happened. On Halloween 2019, the band put out that they were going to be back together and doing a reunion show in Los Angeles on December 20th. Tickets $140 a piece, and they sold out in 4 minutes. That is absolutely insane. But why is this one of the most important things in rock music that happened in 2019? Yes, we see returns all the time. We're seeing the return of Motley Crue. We're seeing the return of Rage Against the Machine. But this one is probably the most important because this is a band that had the world by storm, and they had a whole entire plan. And when Gerard Way wanted to end it, they ended it. And a lot of people are really nostalgic to this. And this is a nostalgia thing for Gen Xers and millennials. This isn't a nostalgia thing for baby boomers. This is a nostalgia thing for mostly millennials, which is huge because we're starting to see bands that we absolutely love coming back. And this could really bring rock music, pop punk, emo back into the fold. So the return of My Chemical Romance, it was a long time coming. And it's finally back. Let's just hope in 2020 they come to a city near all of us. Well, that was our year-end review here at My Sunday Rock 2000 today for 2019. I want to thank you for watching the video and keep an eye out for our year-end awards because they're coming up right after this video throughout the next week. So get ready for those because we're going to go through our awards and start awarding, best album, worst album, best song, worst song, most surprising album, most disappointing album. If you like this video, yeah, give it a like. If you dislike it, give me the dislike. But put in the comments what you thought the biggest stories in rock music of 2019 were, and if you have any comments on anything we said. Now, if you want to subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified I release videos every single Wednesday. And of course, because, well, we got the year-end awards coming up, you want to be notified when they come out. Now, also follow us on social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok to stay up to date and stay informed and be a part of the My Song Day Rock 2000 Day community. Facebook, you're going to find out when everything gets released. Twitter, talk to us. Instagram, talk to us. Be a part of our community. Answer our questions. Take part in our IGTV videos where you get a behind-the-scenes look at what we're going to do. And also our Instagram live streams every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central, because you get to talk to us for an hour, well, talk to me for an hour, and have some fun. And we just do fun stuff on TikTok, so go follow us there. Links in the description below. Let's get those out of here. Talk about the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Sunday Rock 2000 Today. It's our very own podcast where we do things like do our album deep dives. We talk about concerts that we went to go see. We talk to you guys, the fans, and talk to you about what you want to talk about in music. And we also talk to smaller bands as well that are looking to get into the fold, and we go into deep dives interviews with them. Take a look at what we do with Jonathan Norris of Kingdom Collapse. We got a special one coming up on December 23rd, 2019, so look out for that. And also because, well, it's fun to listen to. So watch here on YouTube, or you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Let's get that out of here. And if you're not subscribed to our Amazon Alexa skill, you should probably do that, because that's where you can hear the Song of the Day feature in full. And instead of the 30-second clip you can hear on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. So what you do is you enable the skill in this link description below. You say, play my song of the day. She'll play your song of the day, and it is a 24-hour thing. Get to hear the song for 24 hours. Great way to start the day, end the day, get, motivated for the day, whatever you want to use it for. And the next day, you get a brand new song, all picked by me. So, haha. Also, every single Saturday, we do Small Band Saturday, so you can get a look at some of the smaller bands that are coming up and really get in the know with them. So, please enable that, and I want to thank you for watching it and be part of the My Song Day Rock 2000 Day community, because I love doing this, guys. I love talking music with everybody. So, let's keep this up. So this is Kevin from the My Song Day Rock 2000 Day YouTube channel. Let's get the hat flip. That was bad, but see ya!